for a few inches and pointed. "That's him, in the corner by the window." Blane looked and saw a too skinny boy with a mop of inky black hair. His skin was pasty white from not enough sunlight or a decent diet. He wore a ragged t-shirt that was a size too big and jeans that rolled up at the hem. He was staring out the window, his face turned away from them. "You realize that we don't often grant guardianship to someone of your age?" the woman reminded Blane. "I don't think that'll be a problem here," Blane said. Yesterday he'd called his Uncle Robert, who'd agreed to help him. The wheels were already set in motion to cut through the paperwork and red tape. "I'll be taking him with me today." The woman's lips thinned, but she didn't protest. Perhaps even she knew that sending Cade with Blane was a better plan, despite Blane's age, than making Cade stay there. "Make sure you sign out before you leave," she said. At Blane's nod, she disappeared back down the stairs. Blane took a deep breath and pushed open the door. Two boys who'd been playing cards stopped and looked at him before resuming their game. Another was sleeping on a bed with well-worn sheets. The fifth boy was nowhere to be seen. Blane walked across the room to where Cade sat. Even when he was sure Cade had to have heard him, he didn't turn. Looking around, Blane spotted a spindly wooden chair, moved it next to Cade, and sat down. Only then did Cade acknowledge his presence, his body stiffening as he drew back slightly, as though he thought Blane might touch him. "Hi, Cade," Blane said, making his voice as friendly and non-threatening as possible. His palms were sweating. Cade said nothing. Blane tried again. "You don't know me, but my name is Blane. Blane Kirk." Cade still ignored him with a tenacity that was as admirable as it was disconcerting. I'm your brother," Blane said, praying he was doing this right. "And I'm here to take you home." That got Cade's attention. He turned from where he'd been staring out the window, studiously ignoring the man who'd walked in and sat down much too close to him, and gave him a quick once-over. Dark blonde hair, cut perfectly short, unlike Cade's hair that was always too long and made the other boys call him a girl. Of course, they didn't call him that for long, not after what he'd done to the last one who'd said it. The man was dressed in clothes that had no holes, and didn't seem like he'd worn them more than once or twice. His shoes looked like real leather and were polished to a blinding shine. But it was his eyes that Cade studied most intently. You could tell a lot from a person's eyes, their mood, whether they were good or bad, what their intentions were, sometimes before they even knew themselves. You just had to pay attention and never, ever trust what they said with their mouth. Only trust what they said with their eyes. That was a lesson Cade had learned the hard way. The bones in his left arm had only just healed. This guy's eyes seemed honest. He was telling the truth. But there was uncertainty there, too. That's the last thing Cade needed. He'd been in a foster home before where it had been decent, and the people nice. Then they'd gotten pregnant and hadn't wanted a foster kid around, so they'd sent him back. That had sucked, like being returned to the store for a refund. This guy might change his mind, too. Or what if he had a temper? Cade cast a practiced eye over the broad shoulders and muscled arms. This guy could snap Cade like a twig if he got pissed off enough. Or drunk. Mean drunks were the worst. No thanks, Cade decided. He'd take his chances here, or on the streets. "Fuck off," he said insolently, turning back to stare out the window. It was only from practice and concealing all emotions from his father that Blane was able to keep the shock off his face. A 10-year-old cursing like that wasn't something in his realm of experience. Well, what had he expected? The kid to greet him with open arms, shouting in glee at his good fortune like little orphan Annie? Okay, obviously he needed to try it differently.